If you're catching this on the replay or on YouTube, thank you for watching. Today we're doing advice for the winter season, referencing, winter or the period of darkness throughout the year, or also just kind of through this holiday period too in itself. But we're going to give it a couple minutes for people to hop in. And I have this band-aid here because I accidentally cut my finger putting potatoes in the oven right before this live. And I just realized I forgot to set a timer for that too. Okay, timer's there. I have to wait and see if I can see comments or not. I do see that two people are watching, but it doesn't tell me who. And I don't think I can see comments either. Oops. There we go. Okay, now it says who's watching. It's telling me that Angel's watching, and I don't see who else. It's just showing me profile pictures, not... There we go. I think it's just being really slow on my end, honestly. How are y'all doing? If it doesn't pop up on my phone now, I'll read it after the live. But are y'all doing good? Doing anything fun for upcoming holidays or just the little festive season in general? Dang, I don't think my phone is showing me comments, and I tried Jody's trick of swiping, and it's not working. Damn. Okay, I'm just gonna have to jump into it, but feel free to comment, and right after I'm done being live, I'll go through and I'll check them in the comments, or maybe they'll start showing up for me mid-live. I'm not really sure. That sucks, though. I really like it when I can read comments. So like I said, today we're going over advice for the winter season. I would like to preference this live with saying that, man, if this is medical advice, and so you would always need to seek out help if you need it, and this is just simply discussing my opinion and what I think about the topic. I'll get more into why I said that later, but I just wanted to start with that, and I'll say it again later. So what do I mean by the winter season, though? So literally, actual winter, the dark half of the year, the winter lulls, the seasonal depression, those kind of things is what I literally mean by that. Figuratively, like the dark or cold or downtime in your mundane life or in your practice, and also your low energy periods of time, and then, like I said, going through all of the holidays and stuff. So I want to start with saying you're not alone in this experience. Everybody experiences times where they get down, and that is going to also affect your practice, because your practice is going to go hand in hand with how you're feeling. All of those things are connected, and your mundane life. So if you're dealing with a lot of pressure in your mundane life, then it's going to affect your practice. And then if you're just experiencing, like I said, the winter lulls, like, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about when I talk about like seasonal depression, or when it gets cold outside, people tend to like kind of recluse into their homes and can get down into it. And you're not the only person that's going through that. If you want to reach out to other people in the comments and talk about your experience and how you deal with that and what helps you, then you can put that in the comments, and I'm sure other people would like to see it, and that might be helpful for them. I'm going to go over some advice or tips for dealing with the winter season that I think are helpful. It's not an all-encompassing list, but it's just some things I think would be helpful to have a reminder for yourself. Today's live is not really necessarily like going to be like very information heavy. It's just sort of maybe something that you need to hear about your practice during the winter season. I just thought it was seasonally appropriate. So understanding that everyone goes through rough patches, and the earth has seasons, right? So you're going to also have seasons. If Mother Nature has periods of high growth and fertility and success and blooming and blossoming in the spring, it's going to have a cool down period. You can't be firing at 100% all the time, and you can let yourself flow naturally with the earth. And if you're really in tune, then during the winter you might really feel some of that winter, some of that cold, some of that dark moments. Don't rush yourself through the season. Again, you can follow along, you know, knowing that like winter lasts, you know what I mean? For winter lasts for equally as long as other seasons, so it's not like you can like speed through them. You have to allow it to fully circle its course. You have to go through it. Allow yourself to take breaks. You're allowed to rest. You don't always have to be learning something new in your craft. You don't always have to be actively doing something. You can take a rest. You can sit with it. And not only can you take a rest and you can sit with it, if you achieve something, you can sit and like appreciate what you achieved. Like be proud of yourself. Allow yourself to be like, wow, I just did that. I learned all of those things. And sit and enjoy those things that you learned before you're on to your next adventure. There's always going to be something new to do. There's always going to be something else. But sometimes you might want to just sit and take a moment before you get to those things. Also acknowledging what season you're in and not pushing yourself too hard. So just because we're physically in summer doesn't mean you can't be in your own personal winter, if that makes sense. Or just because we're headed out of winter and going into spring, maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not at that place yet, and that's okay. You don't have to rush yourself. You don't have to compare yourself to what the earth is doing. You don't have to compare yourself to what each other is doing if that works better for you. Does that make sense? So some people are going to flow better and kind of stick with the kind of like the actual seasons, and some people are not. And it's just going to depend on who you are. Understanding that all things are connected, like I said, the mundane, mental health, your craft, etc. All of those things are going to tie together. And learning about yourself and your cycles and what helps versus what doesn't is a really good thing you could do. You could tie that into your shadow work. You could journal about sort of keeping track of maybe when you feel certain things, and you can figure out your natural cycle. You can also keep track of what helps you and what doesn't. You can do those as little shadow work prompts if you are doing that. You can, and then also reaching out to others for support. You don't have to do things alone. Just if you're feeling something, even just sharing what you're feeling, even if it's not a lot, but just sharing some might make you feel a lot better. A lot of times, like I said, when it gets really cold, people will kind of like isolate themselves a little bit, and you don't have to do that. You can also become aware if you're doing it and try to branch out a little bit. I know sometimes you probably don't want to do that, but sometimes it is better for you to do that. And also that if you ever get too down, that therapy is an option, getting mental health treatment is an option. Those are other things. That's why I said in the beginning that it's not all-encompassing advice or like medically professional advice, because obviously mental health is a very touchy subject, and so you have to make sure that you're taking care of it always, so that way you don't fall too low. What are some energy or mood boosting ideas? So a self-love shower or a bath, that's a good one. If I'm upset, boom, into the shower I go. That's just like one of the first things that I do. Journaling, another thing that I really like doing. I really like journaling. I always have a journal. Grounding, meditation. You could do a guided meditation. Grounding you could do it by just sitting in your home, or you could go outside and put your feet in the grass, or you know what I mean? You could do different methods. Cleansing yourself in your space, that could be shouting in your space. You could do noise. You could ring a bell. You could cleanse in whatever the way you want to cleanse. Reading affirmations. So they make a lot of really good affirmation decks. I actually really wish I would have grabbed them. I don't want to go run and grab them, but I have a deck of like swear word affirmations. So they're kind of funny. And then I have one that was made to me by a friend where it's just an old coffee tin that has a bunch of affirmations folded up and put inside, and you can take one out. And sometimes reading affirmations might sound a little bit silly, but like they really do make you feel better. So you can take an affirmation out, and I would say maybe read it 3 times, or if you have a different number that feels right to you, you can do that. But I always like the 3 times. And if you really feel in it, reading it out loud. You can charge or bless food and beverages and items. Maybe you have a specific pair of earrings or a necklace or your coffee in the morning or whatever. You can charge that or bless that and try to just invite positivity in. Taking nature walks, listening to upbeat music or consuming like positive content, using different essential oils, Mirror gazing, looking at yourself in the mirror to boost confidence. You could look at yourself in the mirror just as you walk past, or you could maybe turn off the lights, light a candle, and sit and look at yourself in the mirror. You can do whatever you want to kind of create a moment where you can just sit and get comfortable with yourself. If you hear a cat meowing, that's just Aphrodite being overly loud. Being creative, crafting, and showing your expression through art is something that you could do. Reiki is also something you participate in. Virtual healing sessions. I know sometimes they're done in unseen also, and then you might be able to find them online. And then a lot of those things that I just mentioned are going to overlap into where I'm going, but I want to provide some specifically for low effort ideas to kind of get moving again. You could do a 1-card pull, because then you're like, you're pulling a card, you're participating in, Oracle or Tarot or whatever you're doing. But it doesn't take as much effort. It's just 1 card. You could just light a candle. You could read even just 1 paragraph of a book that you're trying to get through. So let's say you have a tarot book or a Wheel of the Year book that you're just trying to get through, but you're like, oh, I can't sit and read for that long. Just read 1 paragraph. You might only read that paragraph, or you might feel the urge to keep going. But regardless, it's low effort ways to get you moving again. You can stir your intentions into a drink or into your food. You can spend time just charging in the moon or the sun. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit under it. You can draw a sigil on yourself with even just water. You can carry crystals with you, or you can use sprays or essential oils or things like that. And like I said, a lot of the other things I mentioned are also low effort ways, because I tried to pick mostly low effort things, because if you're kind of in that winter season and not having a lot of energy, then you don't want to have to do like 42 steps to start feeling better. You know what I mean? You just want something small to try to help you get going. That is really all that I have. It really sucks I can't read your comments. I am kind of bummed about that. I want to show my Rudolph earrings because they've been bobbling around, so I want to show them. This is a little snowflake. And then I have to show you guys this because I'm very proud of this. This bow was meant for a gift bag, but I decided to do better in my hair. And so this is the bow we got going. I was really trying to give Yule vibes, if that wasn't apparent. So I just had to share. And also whenever I watch lives and I see like people's earrings moving, I like need to know what they are. So just in case there's one of you that really wanted to know, now you know. If nobody wanted to know, I'm glad I shared. But I don't want to keep you for too long because I want y'all to have just all the information in a nice short sweet live. Again, we're going to do low effort. We're doing low effort this time. So I'm going to let y'all go, and I hope you have a really good rest of your day whenever you're watching this, and I will read all of your comments below. Bye, guys.